to prepare against when you guys get into practice?
You say
Isaiah Williams.
Yes, sir.
Going against him every day. Did you kind of see this kind of season coming for him?
Yeah, man, the young man is special. He's ultra talented. I mean, he's everything you want in a football player. Obviously, he handles his business off the field, but just speaking for his talent on the field, man, it's just, I think when we first moved in that position at wide, I think all of us had saw it. Obviously, being a DB guy, I mean, you see it immediately. You know what I mean? And so it's not surprising that the young man's having the success he's having, man. I mean, I think his work ethic, right? Like if you see him work outside of the practice field, outside of game days, like you see why he's having success. Because I mean, everything he does around this place, from the lifts to studying tape to like just going above and beyond. Like the kid wants to be great, and I think you can't have enough kids like that in your program. And then it permeates to the younger guys. It permeates, right? Once a young man like that starts having success, to the rest of the team. And so it's been really good for us. I'm glad he's on our side.
Your guys are playing with a lot of confidence. What have you seen out of the corners?
I think their preparation and their want to be great, you know, and obviously having me in the room, I won't let them settle. You know, I know what it's like to be a corner, have some early success. You start to feel yourself a little bit, and all of a sudden, you have a 200-yard game, right? And the guy you're covering has 200 yards receiving, and you've given up 4 touchdowns. And so I know that feeling, and I don't want them to experience it. So every single day, my goal is how can I bring them back down to reality? You know, obviously, right? It's pros and cons to media. Like you guys have been a blessing for us in terms of the recruiting aspect. But I mean, they're human, right? Just like everybody else. So they see things, and they naturally start to kind of feel themselves a little bit. And so I think the thing that I've always like try to keep my hand on is when teams and players start having success. You know, because it's easy to motivate a player when they aren't being successful, right? You can show them direct results of, listen, if you do this, you got a chance to get here, right? But when teams start having success, right, how do you keep them hungry? When players start having success, how do you keep them hungry? And so I think with having a guy like me, having a guy like Coach Walt, right, having a guy like Andy Boo, Kevin Kane, Terrence Jameson, a bunch of our support staff around, Coach B, right, the head guy, I mean, we're not going to let them get there. You know, and I know we can't protect them outside of this building, but when they get in this building, right, a reality check and some humble pie comes into play quite often.
To that point, Aaron, how big was that first drive, surviving that first drive where they throw the ball down the field, get 7 points, they're coming off the sideline and going, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, I think well, Coach B kind of reiterated. I mean, he made reference to it the night before the game, like surviving the moment. Right? Anytime you're in conference play, you're playing really good football teams, they're going to have moments, right? Wisconsin just so happened to have one, right? It could be multiple depending on who you're playing. And so I think once the guys heard that message, right, we get out to the field and they score on the first drive, it was just like, now I got to shake back. And they weren't flustered. I mean, it was so cool, right? Because when they come to the sideline, they weren't flustered. It was more so like they were pissed, right? Okay, coach, we got to do this. We should do that, right? I saw this, I saw that, and it was them communicating with us, right? And us, obviously, coach came from the top, communicating to the rest of the sideline. I mean, it was a thing of beauty, to be completely honest with you, because they weren't pointing the finger, or guys weren't trying to look for pity. They were pissed off, man. And I think if we come out the gate pissed off, I think we got a chance to be really, really special.
You want a kind of a positive cockiness with corners, right? They're on an island. But how do you dial back a guy like Spoon without taking away that aggressiveness?
Well, you don't dial it back, right? I think you teach them through those moments, right? Like playing the position, playing the cornerback position, you have to play on edge. Like, and if you've never been out there on that island, it's hard to kind of explain it. It's hard for people to understand it. And so obviously as a coach who's been out there, right, when Spoon has the penalty, right, I don't rip him and get in his face and say this and that. Like we show the tape and we try to teach him through those progressions, right? Hey man, this is a closer game, right? And we're on the road somewhere playing in a hostile environment, right? This is why that is unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? This is why you have to control your emotions, right? And that's something going off back into the office. You have to control your emotions in these moments like this, right? The game was kind of out of reach at that moment, right? But we get in some tight ball games, those penalties can be devastating to a defense and better yet a team. And so I don't really say dial it back so much, but just be smarter in the way you do it, right? Because you can still do it, you can still play on the edge, but you just gotta pick your moments in which you do it. On top of that, just making sure understanding who those refs are, man. They're human too. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have feelings, they understand the game, and so just having just a sense of awareness of what's going on when you're doing it.
And obviously, you guys all have career aspirations.
Yes, sir.
What does Brett do? Maybe not different than anyone. Just what does he do to help you guys kind of ready yourselves for whenever that moment is to get to that point?
You know what? Being with Coach since I was a freshman in college and seeing the growth he's made as a football coach, right, till now. You know, I mean, everybody in the building, right, in our building has aspirations of whether it's being a coordinator or being a head coach. I think Coach does a tremendous job in like teaching us about those moments. Like, he'll buzz in my office, right, and it's invaluable things, right? He buzzed in my office last week. He was like, I know you want to be a head coach one day, and he sit down with me and talk to me about the schedule, talk to me. I mean, it's like immaculate stuff, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really, really good stuff for a head coach to take just 5 minutes, right? A young coach like myself, I see that and I hear that, and I'm like, dang, like, that dude believes in me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll do the same thing to Wall and the Coach Kane and the Coach Boo and the Coach Jameson. And so it's beautiful, man, because there is no, like, he wants us all to have success. You know what I mean? And obviously the time is right now for us to be here. And when those opportunities come, man, I think Coach is like one of those like father figures. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but for me, for sure, right, being a former player that played for him, he's like one of those father figures that wants to help you grow. And when that time does come and you have an opportunity, he's going to help coach you through it and help you be a better overall coach and better head coach if that opportunity comes.
What's been the biggest change in him as a coach now versus when you were a freshman in college with him?
The biggest change, I tell people this all the time, the biggest change is probably like his football IQ and situational awareness. He had it as a young coach, but it's like times 10 now. Okay. You know, he'll have these segments with our team, these football one-on-one segments. I wish you guys could take a glimpse into that. It's like, they're absolutely incredible, and I'm sure he's spoken on it, but they're like utterly amazing because he's teaching the game from every aspect that young players just don't understand, right? Why is this penalty so important? All right, why is this penalty so harmful to this team in this situation, right? When teams line up right here, right, and it's a chance for a 4-point play, why are teams doing that? Why is it important for us to get off on the field defensively? I mean, it's just so many different things. You know, we took segments of the offseason and started talking about the national championship game, and he broke the national championship game down, right, in the segments, and he literally taught it to our team. I mean, it was beautiful, utterly beautiful. And so seeing, obviously being a former player for Coach and then now working for him, like in his younger days, not that he didn't know that, but he wouldn't have done that. And so seeing it now, seeing it kind of come full, he's literally teaching our players, especially our younger players, about how to play the game. You know, how to truly play the game. And so I think that's the beauty in it.
When the defensive line's playing